Hey folks, Mary here. One sec. All right. Just gonna get in behind the nightstands. Hey, I'm Mary from Chic Paint. Just want to show you the finishing result of these nightstands that I painted in a custom mix of this nice muted olive green, kind of like our color Conquer from the winter collection in 2017 or 2018. So I've already distressed them. The undercolor underneath, which is a very light taupe beige, is called Soiree from our line. And then I was planning on using a bit of our natural wax and antiquing wax. I've got a cool stencil that I want to put on the drawer fronts that I think would look really nice. It's a nice bird motif, so I'm going to give that a whirl. Just realized I left my computer over here. Apologies, got to get it set up for comments. Feel free to let me know where you're coming from. And if you've seen part one, if you haven't yet, be sure to watch that after for some extra tips on how we achieve the wet distress finish with a damp cloth. Lots of good tips in that one. Just gonna make sure I can comment here. Sorry, one sec. Okay, so just gonna let a few people get on before we get started. Just gonna make sure that's not stuck to the cardboard. I want to use a metallic cream that I think it's out of stock right now, but it's a really handy one if you have it at home. It's called Belt Buckle. It's a bronze metallic cream. I'll get up close so you can see because it's absolutely gorgeous. We have a few other tints like silver, bronze, anything like that. So this is the bronzy Belt Buckle. Really nice and shimmery. It is a cream, so it's not paint. It's definitely supposed to be like molasses. A little thick, dries really quickly. It's kind of like a gilding wax or something like that. Works great as a stencil, all over shimmery finish. I did the inside of drawers, just the inside of the cupboards was a pop of bronze, and then the outside was black, so it looked really cool. If you ever get your hands on some of this or you have it at home, be sure to use it. Okay, so I do have my stencil and a little makeup counter that I got from the dollar store handy. If I was using a bigger stencil, I might go for my round painting sponge. A sponge works a little better than a brush when you're stenciling, so you don't get that messy bleed. Oops, I've made some mess. All right, so I'm just gonna get in close. We're gonna do this one first. It's nice and flush. Paint has had plenty of time to dry. Excuse my dirty nail there. Green doesn't look really pretty when it's in the fingernails. Just gonna bring a little closer so you can see. Let me know in the comments if you've ever used our Belt Buckle metallic cream. I've got Lucky Penny as well, which is copper. That's one of my favorites. I use it all the time. Let's see here. So it helps to just kind of plan it out. This is a nice Martha Stewart stencil I got from Michael's, Canadian, if anybody's wondering where that kind of brand store is. I'm thinking 2 birds on either side and maybe add some more branches. Helps to have painter's tape to just keep things in place. Careful when you peel this back too that you don't accidentally wreck your fine detailed stencil. It's pretty durable plastic usually, but you can still warp the details and just make it last a little longer. Just gonna make sure that's on. And as my paint is very dry, I'm not worried about accidentally peeling it off or something. Whoops. Sorry about that, the sound of paper coming down. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. It is on a curve. I don't know if I should be taking the drawers out. Maybe. Now I'm deciding, because I might accidentally, I don't know if I want to put gold over top. So I think I am gonna actually take the drawers off first. I don't know if that's going to make a lot of difference in the end. Oops, sorry, they're a little sticky. Last night, oops, revealed this vintage watermelon combination. This is our Conquer lookalike. It's an olive and then peachy keen, which is apricot or peach. So just going to lay these out. Sorry, I could have done this beforehand. Oops. When I go to wax, these will be much easier to open because I'm definitely going to be doing the tops and the grooves. Wax makes it a little easier after you've painted to get stuff in and out. Set this nightstand down. I'll change the angle so you can see. As soon as I get this out of the way here. And you're going to see my very messy painted table. I don't clean it. So I'm just going to line those up. And angle it so you can see. I want to work in a comfortable position so I don't accidentally mess up here. So that's the mess. Okay, gotta get in. Lay the stencil back down again. So I want to do 2 birds. Oh, this is much easier to do. Take the drawers out. And the best part is, if I do mess up or I don't like the look in the end, absolutely no trouble. Just as easily can paint over our metallic cream with some paint, let that dry, and try it again or try something else. Sometimes the look changes 100 times. You might recognize these nightstands from last week. I painted them in a neutral farmhouse color scheme, but my mom changed her mind. These are her pieces, so we're gonna do this a little differently now. And I'm all for color. So got my metallic cream, just gonna stick it in a little bit. We just need a little on the tip of the sponge, and I'm just gonna pounce it, sponge it, whatever you wanna call that. I don't want a fully opaque effect. I want it to look a little distressed. You can always sand back after if you like, but just applying it really lightly can do the trick as well sometimes. It will collect all over your fingers. It hardens quite a bit, so give that a good wash later. Make sure you clean your stencils after. The creams should be cleaned up after you're done. And make sure you keep that down. Oops, that's why I taped it. So this is gonna offer a little light shimmer. And when the sun hits the drawers, it's just gonna look really, really cute. And right against this kind of olive green, I think belt buckle is a really good choice. We've got a sample finishes page if anyone's curious what kind of combinations look good together. You don't have to buy all the products and try them out. We do have plenty of examples on our website, Instagram, Facebook, all that, Pinterest too. So that's 1 bird down and some flowers. You can see there's a bit of a shine going on there. I think I have to take it off and reposition, see how that looks. Done too good of a job taping. Ooh, yes. I love it. I love it. Can you see? Yay. I love this stencil. Man, it's handy. Okay, so I want to wipe off just a little bit because I think if I flip it and then put it down, it'll be a dirty side. So maybe give it a little time to dry. Just wiping it on my apron off screen. Don't judge. All right, so it's nice and clean. I'm gonna flip it over. Be really careful about taking the tape off. I don't want to pull any of those super fine flower details. I did that once to a new stencil and it just never really flattened again on me, so I was a bit disappointed by that. There we go. All right, so that's one side. Just gonna reverse, get in a more comfortable position here to do the second bird. Make sure they line up. Save my tape pieces here. I want a little bit of that branch. That can cut off a little. I thought about putting the bird right in the center and not adding all over detail, but I do have these knobs that are gonna line up and I didn't want to hide the bird, so off to the side it went. I think I'm just gonna have to hold that down. The sponge will dry really quickly too. Just a tip, one time I like to wash all my stuff when I'm done at the end of a project, but sometimes you might want to go ahead and wash these right away just to make sure that it doesn't dry up on you. I'm gonna start with the little branches up here. I think I have too much collected on the surface there. There we go. And just lightly bouncing up and down with the makeup pouncer. I want just a very light look. It's pretty pigmented. I can't see the green underneath. If you wanted to do, maybe just leave it there for 5 seconds and then go over it again if you want more pigment, metallic pigment. Sometimes with colors like pocket watch, you might find you do that once or twice, but I love belt buckle because it's almost always just like a 1 or 2 coat application. And this is looking good. Just gotta make sure these stay firm and don't move on me. Put too much cream on again. There we go. Oh, this is gonna look great. So let me know in the comments if you've ever used our metallic cream. Always curious. We do also have a $50 giveaway on this video as well. I usually kind of do that for these. It's for the Country Chic Paint website, $50 off. All you have to do is comment to win after we've uploaded this video. Just let me know if you've ever used a stencil, if you've ever used our metallic cream. If you like the olive mix, you can just comment to win. Doesn't have to be anything. We'll pick our winner in 24 hours time and let them know in the comments below. And if you have any other questions, non-contest related, just let me know. I'm always happy to help. So these are the two birds. Ooh, look at the shimmer, guys. I love when that happens. Okay, I'm thinking I want to add just a bit more to this. I kind of want to busy it all up. Anybody think that's a good idea? Going all over with more? Like I can do one right there, kind of add another blossom, because right now we've just got birds. If you want to shoot me a message real quick before I decide on my own. Always like some input. Okay, this side. I'm just going to, I think, do a branch from the side here. Just a little one. Yes, okay. So this is going to be applied. Yes, more is good. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. All right. Gonna do a little bit more. Oops. Getting it all over me. Your nails and hands will start to look a little gross. Wear gloves if you like. It is pretty eco-friendly, very safe to use, but very messy. Keep your surface clean. Just want to make sure that's level. I don't want an oddly crooked branch. I'm sure that can happen, but. And more light layers. There's a lot of fine detail there. I'm gonna really make sure I get that because I don't want to lift up and then realize half of it wasn't covered. Oh, trying not to bend any precious limbs of the stencil. You could use a roller too. Sometimes it helps to have this like pointed pressure though in case you do miss the finer details. But I've seen quite a few use a roller, especially if you're doing walls or an accent. One customer used our metallic cream to decorate her front hallway. Had a very beautiful wall color, just needed something shimmery to dress it up, and worked perfectly. So these things are very versatile, goes a long way. I've had the same 4-ounce sample for some time now. I think they're out of stock, but we're hoping to get more. Okay, almost done with this one. I love these little flowers. And that worked. Yes. So I'll lift it up and show you in a moment. Just gotta do more cleaning off of the cream before it dries. So barely stained the stencil. I have some that are pretty bad. Added a bit more to it. Pretty happy with that. This dries really quickly as well. So I can already touch these parts that I just applied. I can even run my hand gently over it and it's not gonna scratch up. Very fast drying creams. Adheres pretty well too to pretty much everything. Metal, absolutely. Metal cans. We've got one more space to fill over here. The knobs are going to do that fine. We got a flower, maybe more branches. Just going to see how this orients. Maybe one bigger one right here. It's not big enough. Sorry, I'm indecisive. I really can't decide. I want it to be a little random, but not too crazy. Sorry I'm fidgeting so much. It's live. I don't want to make a mistake. Maybe just flowers. Do one right here. Gonna hold that because I'm not taping it this time. I'm just gonna go quick. Not sure if I have enough cream. Ooh, might have put that on too thick. We'll see. And actually, just gonna go with how that fell and fill that flower in. I think that might look nice, and if there's something underneath there and I forgot, oops, can always paint over it. And I just want to fill that one in because it's kind of near the knob. Lots of little petal outlines here. Okay. Gonna take a peek. I could use a bit more. Okay. Ah, I like that. So that's what we've got so far. Oops. Lots of detail. I'm gonna put those back in their place, and we'll try the next one in a moment. Oops, back up, sorry. Okay. Sorry about all the jostling, everybody. All right, just gotta get this focused again. So I want to work with antiquing wax, I think, next. I want the drawers in when I do that, so I can see the full effect. With paint and anything else, you might want to let that sit for a couple of hours, definitely more than 2, before you wax. But with the cream being so fast drying, and this having overnight to dry, I am good to go. Just gonna set this guy down. Can probably do like a before and after. Here. It's a little tricky to get in again. Make sure I do it in the right order. Now they're different. And I think while it's not always a good idea to wax the inside of these kind of drawers because it's going to collect, you know, kind of lint and other things, wax could let that embed and make it harder to clean out, but I do want to kind of match this antique look, so I think I'm going to add just a bit of antiquing wax into the crevices later. But it's fine enough just to leave as is on the inside. So that's kind of a very, very subtle bronze look over our muted olive. This is the color. If anybody still has it, it came out in 2017. Really cute. Very, I got pretty close. And I used, if you're curious about the color ratio, I did mention it in part 1 of the video, but it's just 1 part driftwood, 2 parts licorice, which is this guy, and then 1 part fresh mustard, which is our really bright sunshine yellow. Sunflower yellow, I guess. So just gonna get my things ready for waxing. My antiquing wax, a lint-free cloth, brushes. I usually use our wax brush. I wrapped it up I have it mid-project for a gray piece. So it's got some gray wax in it. I don't want to use it on this right now. Just use some simple brush soap that we also have that online. You can use that to clean out your brushes. But I'm just going to use this spare stiff bristle brush that I got, which kind of works because it's a smaller piece. I don't need a lot of antiquing wax. All right. Oh, sorry. Cynthia, will you show us the knobs? Yeah, of course. I don't know if I can pop them in right away, but this is the overall effect. So if you can see them, I'll just get a little closer here. They actually were already painted in belt buckle when I did the project originally. So they were originally this really cheap, shiny black ones. I just dry brushed that metallic cream I just used over there. So everything is a complete match. It's going to have a really nice kind of Tuscan maybe look, but I love the birds. So yeah, sorry I didn't mention that at all. Got the knobs right here. They're the original ones. I used cream to update them. Just going to put this in the damp cloth or the damp dish so it doesn't dry out on me. Okay, so this is my antiquing wax. I have peeled back the little skin that collected. It's a natural wax, so it will kind of, I guess, oxidize. So just wipe that back. You have nice, perfect, ready-to-use wax. It comes off on my finger very easily, very pigmented. And then I've got brand new 8-ounce wax that I've been waiting to use very patiently until my old wax was over. So love that new wax feel. It's pretty. Okay, do the creams adhere to metal? Yes, I did a paint can, which, oh, I have, yes. This was my paint can that I had at the office. This is Lucky Penny. I just did about 5 coats of it. I didn't wait. I brushed on one side, did the other side. By the time that was done, the other side was ready to paint. This is very pigmented. You can't see. It was just a shiny silver underneath. This is just an old can of ours. I use it for paintbrushes and pencils now. Didn't seal that or anything, and it's fine. And then my mom also does a lot of rooster weather vanes in her garden, so she uses our products as well for that. Sometimes seals for the shine, but you don't always have to. If it's going outside and it's going to be subjected to rain or snow, maybe use top coat over anything, but the creams are very durable. So I've got the lint-free cloth, just a reusable dishcloth, rinse out. I like to keep these separate from my paint cloths because oils and water don't mix. I've already mislocated this brush, so just gonna get to it. I think I want to start on this side because, maybe back, just so I can get a feel of what it's gonna be like. I recommend you do that if you're a little nervous starting out with wax. And I want a pretty pigmented look, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on first and then natural wax to kind of buff and act like an eraser. Sorry for the dirty hands. So just gonna press a little bit, just a little on the tip. You don't need a lot of material, product, sorry. And I'm gonna push it into the crevices, because that's where grime and wear and tear would naturally collect. I always like to start out with the edges and work my way in. With any kind of square shape, helps to just create these little triangles on the corners to give it that vintage look. I've done a similar application with black wax over a color called Fireworks we offer. Really nice Irish green or something like that, so I definitely suggest checking out that video if you're looking for more wax tips, or if you're just curious on how to apply it, what the other tones look like, or tints, sorry. We've done a few videos. Be sure to check them out. So that's kind of, oops, I want to do a little bit more right here. Then I get my clean part of the cloth. It's pretty clean already. And I'm just going to do little swirls, kind of just trying to keep it there. I don't want to make unnecessary movements into the center because you're going to drag that product there, and it's just going to be that much harder to make a more natural wear effect. So some might want to just go all over, then buff the excess. I like to apply where needed and then kind of go in again if I have to. This way you're not needlessly wasting wax, and you'll find that you're just buffing a lot of it off anyway. So if you want to go through cloth after cloth, go that way, but sometimes just where you want it is better. So it's tinted I'm not sure if you can tell. Yeah, you can. So there's some shadow here. This is stained the paint. This is my mix. This is antiquing wax over it. So that brown has worked into the porous paint. It'd be very tricky to get off on its own simply by continuously rubbing. I'm not going to be able to just keep rubbing and get it away. It's in there now. You can use natural wax, which I'll show in a minute, that can act like an eraser. Or if you want to remove your wax and maybe touch up your paint layers or try a different look, or you come back to it a couple years later and you've changed your mind, just use TSP cleaner or rubbing alcohol or another odorless mineral spirit to remove your wax. You can go ahead and paint again. As it is an oil finish that I'm applying, I don't really want to add any more water-based products. I probably wouldn't put a stencil over this with my metallic cream, for example. Once it's on, it's on. It's the last thing I'm going to apply. So I'm going to let that sit a bit. I'm going to go on to this side. I did have to touch up a little bit of, ooh, I might have just got it on my face. I did have to touch up a little bit here, but as I'm going to wax it, I don't think I'll be able to see that slight color variation once it's been waxed. So just deciding to do this route now. Just going to push it in. Might not have been wise. I'm supposed to use the brush. Sometimes I like to use the cloth. It all depends on what you're doing. But working something into the grooves, use an artist brush, anything like this. We offer little sets like that. Maybe have one for waxing and one for painting. But if you're really good at cleaning brushes, you can get the oil out and use them for paint. So same thing, just those little triangles. And the reason why I don't really put anything in the center is if we're creating this antique look where it's supposed to look 30, 40 years older, if someone was coming by to care for this piece and clean it, they'd really, really work right here. So this would be very clean, and this might not be as clean over the years. So that's just kind of the reasoning for that. A lot of people will suggest the same thing. Sometimes though, when I'm using our smoky quartz glaze, which is brown but acts totally different, I like to put that all over and then brush it away sometimes. Just depends. Something to play around with. And again, just kind of starting out with miniature swirls. I've started to accidentally drag some product in, so I gotta make sure I have a clean spot of the cloth. Trying to make sure I don't touch the top with my dirty hands. And if you want a very, very pigmented look where it's almost black in the crevices, purposely leave behind some wax. Don't buff completely or you will only ever get this kind of light tint. I want that here, but I definitely want it darker back there. Once the wax is cured, after a few weeks, you'll definitely not be able to wipe it away as easily. This will have cured and hardened. Even if you go to take a damp cloth to just generally clean the piece, it will stick behind in most cases. Wax does wear with time though, so we don't recommend doing it on tabletops or seated surfaces, anything that's going to get actual constant rubbing, as that can just wear the wax off over time. You might find you apply it once a year or so. But on a buffet or a nightstand or something like this, I very rarely will ever have to wax again, and I won't ever have to probably antique wax again. Maybe just use natural wax on the top if I find that it's wearing with time. So just making sure it's as soft as I can make it and kneading in there nicely. If you find your paint is coming up on you and you have waited long enough, or you think you have, it might be that there wasn't enough paint on there and you're accidentally distressing. The paint is clay and chalk paste, so it does distress if you use sandpaper or something. So if you're being a little rough and it's coming off, maybe wait for it to dry. And try that area again, or make sure you've gone through the prep properly. Alright, so we're going to do the front of this guy. I want to make sure I'm particular with where I put it, so I'm going to make sure those are in. I definitely want right up into the crevices, at least a little bit on either end of the drawers. And I'll show you how I do the top, because it can be a little awkward figuring out how to make the natural round surface work out, or if you have really broad plain surfaces. So just making sure that sits there in the corners. I'm definitely going to want to try this bronze and green combination on something of my own. I really like it. Can't wait to find something perfect. So, make sure that's in there. Oops. This is the only way I get them out, sorry. Definitely want that old look coming on. So just around the corners, it's going right over top of metallic cream, no problem. Metallic cream is a bit slicker and smoother than our paint, so you'll find that maybe it doesn't remain behind as well or as much. Still sticks on pretty good. Just something to keep in mind if you're fully metallic creaming something and then you want to wax it. So each side taken care of. And I'm only letting it sit for a little bit. If you find it's coming off very easily, wait about 10 minutes and then come back to buff. But I like to just kind of work it a little right away. That way it just kind of goes a little farther and it's more of a subtle look because I'm taking more off. And if you get sharp lines like that, where it's like, oh dear, I've antiqued too much there, that's where the natural wax is going to come in handy, and it's going to rub some of that off and make it a little less stark. And I do plan on, of course, waxing all of the drawers on the sides so they slide a little easier. This is exactly like her jewelry box. I think this is a dead ringer. I think the hardware was even that kind of bronze too, so it's going to be very, very matchy in her space, but it's going to look perfect. That's the best part about paint. You can have mismatched decor suddenly work in the room just with a bit of paint. Make sure I didn't miss any spots. So that's kind of aged up a little bit. I'll soften up the marks, and you'll see in a moment with natural wax. Oh, got a few questions here. Sorry, I have it on the other side. What's the difference between black wax versus antiquing? Well, antiquing wax is actually brown, and then black wax is, of course, black. So this is a very soft kind of warm tone. It's not too contrasted. It would definitely be much darker if I used our black wax. Do I have any? Oh, I do. That's great. Oh, let's see if I can open it. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but for the lady asking about our waxes, very slight difference. This is antiquing, and that is black. So this would be a bit different than that. I don't know if you can tell on the camera. We do have sample finishes though, if you're curious. The sample finishes page on the website shows you what each wax looks like over a few popular colors like white, pink, blue. No green, unfortunately, but very good for a visual. So if you have cooler tone decor, maybe go with black wax or gray wax. And if you favor the farmhouse or the warmer tones, go ahead with your antique. And then a question, would it help to use natural wax first, then follow up with antiquing wax? Yes. The fireworks nightstand, which there is a video of, I used black wax after applying natural wax. I did natural wax all over the thing, let it sit for a bit, and then without buffing, went in with black wax. I found it was a very subtle effect. It buffed in really nicely. Very slight difference though. This might be more pigmented putting it on first, but after I put natural wax on, it's going to have a very similar look. So it just depends on how you prefer to apply it. Oh, we do have a white wax as well. And we have gold. Be sure to check out that sample finishes page. I'm not joking, it's got all of the finishes on there, and we put them over baseboards with detail. So you paint it white and then you work it in, take a picture of it. It's a perfect example of what wax might look like over a similar piece that you have at home. So give that a whirl. White wax we do have, it's very popular with colors like bee's knees, which is our very light butter yellow, slate, glaze, and our gray wax. Those are used for the lighter colors. A lot of stuff to work with. All right, so time for natural wax. This is my big jar. Haven't used it yet. I do need a different brush for it though. I'm just going to use this loose chippy one. Should be washing my brushes more often. Actually, I think I might just go in with the cloth. So this is very nice, clean, new wax, and I'm just going to go ahead and soften up the edges here of So for the one who had the question about the, is it easier to put the dark wax first, it doesn't really matter because when you go in with natural wax, you can just easily kind of, I've got quite a bit on the cloth, so that might be too drastic, but I'm just gonna really gently make a kind of barrier where they connect and get a new clean part so there's no excess wax. I wanna make sure that's in the center because I put too much on right there. Natural wax is going to add a little bit of depth to your existing paint color, and it's going to slightly erase that other wax, mute it a little bit. So what I've done is I take that sharp triangle line with the wax, natural waxes meeting together. It's kind of like just adding water to paint. You're just blending it, very, very nice and subtle, no harsh lines. You could put natural wax first, then do your antiquing and do the exact same thing. It's just the motion of tinted wax mixing with a non-pigmented wax. You're just kind of waxing it down, watering it down. So that's just kind of the idea there. Let's see, is it easier on the paint if I clean, need alcohol or TSP? If you're just cleaning your piece, I wouldn't recommend cleaning it with TSP on the regular. That's really just if you're trying to remove the wax. I hope that I got that question right there. I would only use TSP if I'm changing the look or I no longer want to wax, or if I find that wax wasn't durable enough. Say you did a cabinet or something or a buffet, but it's one you use often and it's showing a lot of premature wear, go ahead and seal with Tough Coat or Clear Coat. But if you have waxed that, remove it with TSP or the mineral spirits. But if you're just wanting to clean your piece on the regular, I like to just use a damp cloth and a natural cleaner. Something that's just a little safer, not too harsh. Hope that helped. So just adding a bit more wax here. And all you do is you buff until it's no longer tacky to the touch. I wouldn't immediately assume that I am done right now because I haven't given it enough time to cure. Wax does actually need just a couple of weeks to do its thing before you can heavily use it. But if I came back after a day of buffing and did that, it might not show a handprint. Lets me know it's done. It's no longer tacky to the touch. I have a very nice soft buttery feel. That's just kind of what you're looking for. Full instructions are on our website, just the wax instruction guide. Gives you handy tips on how to use a tinted wax and just all over sealing. So that's not coming off, but it is of course just applied. So I'm going to give it some time. When I wax pieces and give them back to my family or friends, I usually wait about a day before I give it to them, maybe 2 if I think they're not going to be careful. Just gently use your piece for about a week and then it's good. But wax does have a whole curing process happening that you can't see for about 3 to 4. So just keep that in mind. Sorry, I'm just trying to get these out. Again, apologies for the banging. So I'm just going to soften up the edges there with a bit of natural wax. And then I plan on coming back to this in about a day, seeing how I like it. If I want to add more wax, I will. If I want to add a bit more antiquing because it's just not stark enough, my mom will let me know if she wants more of a dramatic look, but we were going for just soft, worn look. So there's a little difference if you're curious. I'll change the angle of the camera so you can see a waxed finish versus no wax on paint. Maybe you can tell. So this one will be the waxed one. This is natural wax. It looks darker. I think that's because it's refracting more light. I don't know. Got a bit of a gloss to it that's going to be buffed away. Wax dries to a pretty matte finish. So this is kind of deeper looking, and this is the flat matte of the paint. So if you're just looking for that extra kind of look or the finished feel, oops, there's a little bit of a hair there. Go ahead and use natural wax on its own. Gonna do it on this one as well. Make sure it's clean. And I'm just taking a little bit right off the top. There's a few areas where belt buckle kind of escaped the stencil. I don't mind because it just adds to that worn, maybe there was a design there and it flaked off kind of look. So I like kind of when those little happy accidents happen. Just got to embrace, roll with the punches, I guess. And I'm just buffing so it's not all collecting on there. Let that sit for a bit. And then I'll take them out and actually wax the sides as well, but that's later. And I'll just show you before we wrap up how to do the top. And then I will definitely be sure to show finished pictures of the whole thing with up close. You can see the shine on our Facebook page, and we will probably show them on Instagram sometime too. So be sure to be tuned in on those to see. I'd love to hear what you guys think when you see the pictures. Gonna make sure that antiquing wax blended nicely for me. it helps to use two different cloths. Right now I'm just using the same one, but you don't want to contaminate your natural wax one with antiquing wax. So I'm going to let those sit and awkwardly move this up so you can see the top. And we are going to just briefly antiquing wax that. Sorry for all the shaking and moving. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe or like it. I'll be going on probably next week doing some more projects. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see, let me know. And don't forget to comment when the video's over for that giveaway. $50 shopping money on our website. It's a pretty good deal. All you have to do is comment. So I've got my antiquing brush and I've got my antiquing wax. And I'm going to go kind of just around the edges first. Always start with the edges, work your way in. Oh, thanks Tammy, I'm glad you like it. It is pretty handy. I was really afraid to use wax when I very first started working with painting. I almost preferred the glazes because I knew that they were easy, forgivable. I was daunted by the thought of having to use TSP cleaner to remove something. It's actually not that bad. All you gotta do is spritz it on, 10 minutes later come back, wipe it off, wipe up the residue, and you can paint. You can change your looks pretty easily with these products. But wax kind of just lends that really nice subtle effect. It's definitely worth experimenting. If you have a low traffic item like this, give it a whirl. It is awesome to use. And it's almost easier than glaze. I don't know, that's probably opinion based. But we do have videos, lots of demonstrations of both if you want to make your own decisions. So be sure to check them out. Just gonna make sure I got enough wax all around. I'm pretty heavily applying it on the corners, and then just a thin strip around the very top. I lightly distressed it. I tried playing around doing kind of random patches, but I wasn't getting the look I wanted for, so I only did 2 little distress spots. Otherwise it started looking just odd. So I really want to antique it up to make up for the fact that it's not distressed. And I kind of dry brush with the excess wax that's on my brush. So I'll do this. So you can see very pigmented, kind of just like bleeds out into the center a little bit. That's kind of dry brushing. You're just using the bare minimum that's on the product, or the brush. So I got a nice little wrap around there. Oh, I got a question about the waxes. I did mention some of them were out of stock. I've heard today that we hope to get them back very soon. I think our 4 ounces are coming, so stay tuned. We always have the kind of announcements for those items in our newsletters, so subscribe to those. You'll be the first to know when that's back in stock. I would love to get some more white wax. Okay, so clean spot of the cloth. Don't want to mess up on the first go. I'm going to see if I can move this so you can maybe see a little higher. Nope, that's as far as it goes. Okay, sorry. I can't see either if it's any consolation. Okay, so I'm going to start with the middle areas and push them out because I don't want to accidentally bring that in. I want to see where this goes, and it's kind of hard to tell what I'm doing with the shine of the sun coming at me there, so forgive me if this doesn't turn out well. I did just explain how to correct it though, so I'm not really worried if I have to. Oh yes. So this will also stain Soiree, which is that really light taupe color underneath. Kind of just want to make sure it's dispersed. It's tinted that nicely. It's nice and dark. Make sure that's buffed a little bit. And so we've got this kind of very sharp circle that we might not find desirable. So I'm going to just, using a bit more pressure, a cleaner part of the cloth, I'm going to try and blend some of it closer to the center. I'm using a lot of pressure, and I can see in the shine that it's kind of coming in. You just want this really subtle look, otherwise you do get those harsh lines. Natural wax, where are you hiding? Okay, got my natural wax, clean part of the cloth. Clean part of the cloth, yeah, okay. And I'm gonna smack that right in the center because I know I do want to seal the whole thing. So just a little bit on the cloth. Might need a bit more. Yep, I'm gonna need a bit more. And when they go to touch, I'm just very careful because you don't want to over erase and then have a very sharp, clear line all over again. It takes a bit of practice. Okay, just gonna apply one more here. And a new part of the cloth, because I don't want that much wax anymore. We're gonna buff, same motion, all circular. Just wanna make sure that this does its thing. And I just need to check and use the camera. Okay, so it's a little, I need a stool. Nope. I think a bit more natural wax to make that faded would work. So it takes some playing, but it's very forgiving. Just gotta add more if you need to, and then make sure it's not immediately tacky when you let it sit for a while. Okay, so I think that's it. Just a nice, very, very subtle, you can barely tell. Try to get that gradient there. Yeah. So that is just a little demonstration at the top. Oh, yes, that's a good idea. I'm going to put this one next to the other one for contrast. You guys can see the difference. Thank you for the suggestion, Tammy. And I'll back up so you can see. So if you want, there's the top comparison. Much darker, much richer, and very nice pastel kind of muted tone. All matte chalk style paints are going to give you that kind of look unless you add something else to them. Physically, I can see that this is a bit shinier, prettier, has detail, so I'm very happy with that. The wax did what I wanted. I will be doing the exact same thing to the other one. Sadly, I don't think we have time today, but I will show you how they are staged both. Hopefully for Monday. Just gonna try and find a gap here. So this is our unfinished but very nicely wet distress painted. This is, ooh, it's about to fall off the table. And then this is the really nice antique wax, natural wax, belt buckle metallic cream over the whole thing. Yeah, wow, indeed. So I can't wait to put the knobs on. There's that pretty pink that's in everything. So I think it just came together really nicely. Like I said, it's got this vintage watermelon kind of feel to it. It's gonna go really great in her room and I think she'll like it. And if she doesn't, she'll let me know and I might be doing another video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to comment for that giveaway. Just after I upload the video here, feel free to comment away. We'll draw the winner tomorrow. We'll let them know in the comments who the lucky winner was. Other than that, I hope you guys really enjoyed this demonstration. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm very, very excited to finish it and take that picture and show you how it turned out. If you ever have any questions, you can email us. You can subscribe to get more notifications on when we go live. And I hope you guys have a good day and happy painting. Bye now.